Hello guys, welcome to my channel of Accounting Breeds. Our topic for today is cash flow statement. Now, for your clarity, I would give a brief discussion about this topic, that what is cash flow statement and what are the activities that are involved in the cash flow statement, what are the cash and cash equivalents, and what are the inflows and the outflows in these three activities. Now, we begin our topic. Now, what do you understand by cash flow statement? The cash flow statement is a statement that shows the inflow and outflow of cash and cash equivalent. Now, this statement is prepared to show the inflow and outflow of cash and cash equivalents. First, I will make you understand that what is the inflow and outflow. The inflow means when the cash is coming in your business, and the outflow means when the cash is going out of your business. For this, we prepare a statement in our business. Now, what are the cash and cash equivalents? Here are some of the items that are included in the cash and cash equivalents. The cash and cash equivalents involve cash on hand, balance with bank, marketable securities, and short-term investments. So for this, you need to remember that what are the cash and cash equivalents involved. Now this cash flow statement is prepared to show the transaction on the three type of activities, which means that the cash flow statement is based on these three activities, that is operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. Now these three activities involve the inflow and outflow of cash. Now we will learn that what are these three activities and what are the inflows and outflows in these three activities. Operating activities. Operating activities are the principal revenue producing activities of the enterprise and other activities that are not investing or financing activities. Let me make you understand. Operating activities are the activities when any principal revenue producing activity is performed in the enterprise, it leads to operating activity. These are the activities which are different from the investing and financing activities, which we will learn later. Now, any inflows which are involved in the operating activities are cash sales, cash received from trade receivables, royalty fees, trade commission received, income tax refund. Any cash sales you have done in your business leads to cash inflow in the operating activities. Any cash received from trade receivables leads to cash inflow in the operating activities, and any royalty fees, trade commission received, or any income tax refund leads to the cash inflow in operating activities. Now we will learn about the cash outflow in the operating activities. The cash outflow in the operating activities are any cash purchases, payment of trade payables, cash paid for operating expenses, example, the salaries and wages, income tax paid. Now, any cash purchases you have made, that is, any purchase of goods you have done, leads to the cash outflow in the operating activities. Any payment to the trade payables, that any payment you have made to your creditors, cash paid for operating expenses, any operating expenses you have done. Now these operating expenses involve the salaries and the wages, income tax paid. Now these are some of the outflows that are involved in the operating activities. Now we will go to our investing activities. That what are the investing activities? Investing activities are the acquisition and disposal of long-term assets and other investments not involved in cash equivalents. Now let me make you understand what are the investing activities. Investing activity is when you have purchased or sell any fixed asset or any investment, anything that you have purchased or sold, or any interest or dividend you have received are the investing activities. Now these investments, any investments that you have made in the investing activities does not involve the cash equivalents. The cash inflows that are involved in the investing activities, so the cash inflows that are involved in the investing activities are sale of fixed asset, sale of investments, interest received in investments, dividend received in or on investments, rent received from property held as investment. Now, what are the cash inflows? Cash inflows that are involved in investing activities are sale of fixed asset. As I told you earlier, any fixed asset that is sold leads to inflow of cash in investing activities. Any sale of investments. In case of investments, you need to remember that the investments do not involve any short-term investments and marketable securities, as the short-term investments and marketable securities leads to cash and cash equivalents. As we have read earlier that the cash and cash equivalents involve the short-term investments and marketable securities. So in the investing activities, these two items will not be included in your investments. Any interest received on investments, any dividend received, or any rent received from your property as investment. These are the items that are involved in the cash inflows of the investing activities. Now we will go to the items that are involved in the cash outflow. Cash outflow items are purchase of fixed assets, purchase of investments, loans and advances to third parties, and income tax paid, if any, that is related to investing activities. The cash outflow in the investing activities, as I told you earlier, that the investing activities involve the purchase and sale of fixed assets. So any purchase of fixed assets leads to outflow of cash. Any purchase of investments lead to outflow of cash, or any loans and advances to the third party lead to the outflow of cash. When any loans or advances that are made to the outside parties, it leads to outflow of cash. If any income tax paid and which is related to the investing activities will be included in the outflow. So these are some of the inflow and outflow items that are included in the investing activities. Now we will go ahead with a third activity, that is a financing activity. Now, what do you understand by financing activity? Financing activities are the activities which result in change in size and composition of the owner's capital and borrowings of the enterprise. Now, as by the word financing, we can understand the word finance, which involves the capital that is invested in the business, or any borrowings that has happened in the enterprise. With the inflows and the outflows, some of the cash inflow items are issue of shares in the cash, issue of debentures in cash, proceeds from long-term borrowing, and proceeds from short-term borrowings, which include the bank OD, that is bank overdraft, and cash credit. Now, what are the cash inflows in the financing activities? Cash inflow, the first item is issue of shares, which means if the enterprise or a company has issued shares in the company, that means the cash is coming in the business, that is cash is coming in your enterprise, which is a financing activity. Any issue of debentures in cash, the cash is an inflow. And any proceeds from a long-term borrowings, any borrowings which a company has made, the company has borrowed cash from an outside party, that is a cash inflow in a financing activity, whether the borrowing is a long-term borrowing or a short-term borrowing. The borrowing may be in the form of bank overdraft or a cash credit. Now, what are the cash outflows? Here, the cash outflows are the repayment of long-term borrowings, repayment of short-term borrowings. Now, the borrowings can be the bank overdraft or a cash credit, redemption of preference shares, redemption of debentures, bank buyback of equity shares, payment of dividend, and a payment of interest. Now, let me make you understand that what does this outflow means. Any repayment of long-term borrowings. You are making a payment for a borrowing, that whether the borrowing is a short-term or a long-term. You're making a payment, you're making a repayment, so that is an outflow. The cash is going out of your business. Any redemption of preference shares or debentures, you are redeeming the preference shares and the debentures which you have issued. Your cash is going out of the company, then it's an outflow. Buyback of equity shares is also an outflow. Payment of dividend and interest. When you are paying any dividend or an interest, then it's also an outflow as a cash is going out of the company. In the inflow, we have understand that the cash is coming in the company by issue of your shares, by issue of your debentures, and by taking the long-term borrowings or a short-term borrowings, whether in the form of bank OD, that is bank overdraft, or a cash credit. Now, in this video, we have taken a short review about what is the cash flow and what are the activities that are involved in cash flow and what are the cash and cash equivalents. Now in the next video I will make you understand sums and what are the items that are involved in the activities with the proper sums. Thank you.